Hey listeners, you're listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. Grab some tea, a midnight snack, and cuddle up in bed as we dive deep into today's most popular fantasies, sci-fi, and mysteries. We're your hosts. I'm Lily.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm Christy.
This season, we'll be discussing a dark academia bully romance series known for its smutty content and often billed as a Harry Potter for adults. That's right, grab your Stardust, we're headed to Solaria.
Welcome to Zodiac Academy. Note to students, vampire bites, loss of limbs, or getting lost in the Wailing Woods will not count as a valid excuse for being late to class or this podcast.
In today's episode, we're discussing Book 5, Cursed Fates, chapters 1 through 10, where we learn Orion's fate and Darius and Tory reveal their star-crossed states and deal with the fallout.
Before we get into it, this is your warning for major spoilers ahead. This includes potentially all Zodiac Academy world books, including the Ruthless Boys and Darkmoor Penitentiary series. We might accidentally let spoilers slip for other popular romantasy book series as well. Sorry in advance, like the books, this podcast is rated R. It's gonna get spicy. Also language, so be warned.
Also, a friendly reminder to please like, subscribe, and follow. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Last we left our protags, Tory and Darius had just had their divine moment in which Tory said no, and Darcy is left alone with a dying Lance Orion. Something we forgot to talk about last book was Lance's last words. He says, "You've got to face Lionel. You have to work with the heirs. I know you can do it, Blue. You've made the last few months the happiest of my life, Darcy Vega. I'm sorry for being an asshole when we first met. Biggest regret of my life. I needed you so badly, you have no idea. Now Solaria needs you as their queen. Promise you'll claim the throne, share it with Darius. He's not his father. Promise, you don't need me, beautiful. I was always a shitty teacher." I love that he's like, yeah, I was just a shitty teacher.
His final words were, "I sucked at my job."
But do you think this is a turning point for Lance? Obviously, we now know that he lives. So do you think that he'll stick to those words and support her claim to the throne?
Yes.
I definitely think so. I don't think he would have said it at the end if he hadn't meant it.
What if she decides she doesn't want to share it with Darius? Do you think he'll still support her?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. He'll figure something out.
What if Darius gets all mad about it and, like, you're betraying me?
I think it's going to be messy.
Yeah.
All right, so Darcy is left screaming for help in hopes of saving a dying Orion. And help arrives in the form of Seth.
Oh, man.
So,
Sorry,
Christy.
I'm reading your question.
So, Christy, I must know, does this change your opinion about Seth in any itty-bitty tiny way?
He moved higher into the, or I guess really lower into the negatives. He's still in the negatives.
But it made you think 1% may be better of him?
It's not so much that I don't think that there can be things that can be done for me to think, oh, okay, he actually did something this time. Although he was pretty pushy about wanting to know more later. So, but it's just, he's so far behind. There's no way for him to even break zero.
I mean, I feel like Darcy would agree with you because later she's like, just because you helped me and I, really appreciated that from the bottom of my heart doesn't mean I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're so right for that.
To be fair, though, he could have let Orion die. He didn't have enough magic to save him.
But him knowing what he means to Darius, do you think that's a driving force behind why he saved him?
I think he did it for Darcy.
I can say this, but you're going to say, like, you're wrong. But I think Seth did it because deep down, he's actually a decent person. Deep down.
You're wrong.
Just really, really far down. If you just keep going somewhere down there.
I think he saved Orion because it was the right thing to do.
I mean, I
I
also
think he
think
would have
that.
saved anybody.
I do think there is something good in Seth, but there's also something deeply wrong with that man.
I am sure even serial killers have moments where they help other people.
God damn. Christy said, is he buried deep enough? I'm gonna keep digging. I'm gonna keep digging.
Poor Seth. I will say there is one moment that we have not reached that made me rethink things.
For Seth.
So there's one other moment that he does something good that maybe redeems him a little more.
I don't know if you'll feel the same way about it, but it touched me.
Okay.
It'll depend.
It's not as big as like saving Orion's life. And he nearly dies. Like Orion rips his throat out.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, poor Orion. It's okay. And Seth's over there like, I'm starting to feel the way he feels.
But that's what I said in our notes, was that I kind of agree with you that I felt bad for Seth, that whenever Lance does come back, Seth is like dying over on the side and everyone's like, he'll be fine. Like, don't worry about him.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that part.
I mean,
I guess I was like,
I mean, of course I understand why Lance is top priority in that moment, but at the same time, like, Seth is just lying there.
Yeah. Yeah, and they do describe it as literally ripped his throat out.
Yeah.
And I was like, so Seth is dead? When I first read it, I was like, okay.
oh, there he goes.
Okay, if he died, Christy, do you think that would redeem him? If he completely died saving Orion?
Okay, well, that would be more died because Orion got a little feisty with him. It wouldn't really be him saying, take my life.
Oh my God. No, let's take it back.
I mean, he's more like a KFC bucket.
Oh my God. No, if he lost his life by giving his magic to Orion, like sacrificed his life, would that?
Like Naolan?
Yes.
If he went in knowing I'm going to die and I'm going to willingly do this, then yes, then I would give him a little extra credit for that.
A little extra credit?
Enough credit? Enough?
He'd still get a D on the paper.
Oh my God. He'd pass
He
the
would
class.
squeak by.
Oh man.
Oh God. Poor Seth.
Poor Seth. Really?
Give the man some slack.
I mean,
no.
Darius does some stuff and he gets a pass.
I think that's why I'm so overprotective of Tori, because I feel like everybody gets a pass, gets an excuse except for her. And for her, it's like, it's her fault. She's doing this. I don't know.
I don't understand that. Like, how did all the boys get a pass, but
yeah.
As far as Darcy goes, what do you mean? Like, I don't see her getting a pass. I can't recall a situation in which she got a pass.
Because skipping just a little ahead, but when Darcy comes in and is all sorts of, I want to know your secret now. The fuck? It's her secret, bitch. You let her keep it if she wants to. Don't fucking ask her. But anyways.
It's not necessarily a secret. I just want to know where you were.
What
you
if it was a secret?
Well, then she should say it's a secret.
I don't think
it's a you promised me you would be here and you weren't. You let me down. You betrayed me. Why?
Right. But I think that right there, that I think is what frustrates me, because she was given the grace to, like, when she had her secret, that it was all like, well, Tori should have known something was up because that was not like her. She should have known something was up because that wasn't like her. And she literally chose to, instead of being like, wow, my sister, who's always there for me, is absent in a big moment, instead of her being like, holy shit, something's wrong, let me go find her, she continued on just to find Orion's sister.
Well, see, that's the thing. First, finding Orion's sister it had to be done at that time. It was now or never. So if you didn't do it then, it was not going to happen.
What if Tory was dying?
The other thing is that, and she doesn't really talk about it, but in a way, they say it a lot, that Darcy has always been there to back up Tory, and Tory has always been there to back up Darcy until Darcy says no to going to beat up the heirs about the Halloween incident. And that is the first time she's ever said no. And Darcy never explains it or says anything because she's so relieved that Tory forgives her and is talking to her. But the way that Tory acts is kind of a betrayal and a hurting to Darcy as well.
But I think that's what I'm talking about. The grace that you give Darcy, but yet how she treats Tory when she comes in there is
And at the
ridiculous.
same time, that incident went on for months. She had time to think it over. This incident happened in a matter of hours. And Darcy is so emotionally damaged by the love of her life being stabbed.
He's alive, though. By then, he's alive. He's fine.
Even Seth was like, I'm not sure if he's going to stay that way.
I know, but I guess that's my thing, is the grace is given to Darcy and given, like, okay, her emotional this or that, but I feel like for Tory, it's not that way. I am just protective of Tory.
I get it, but you also have to think, like, yes, she came at Tory because she was upset. She was highly emotional, and as soon as she, like,
oh no, it wasn't as soon as she.
As soon as Tory finally was like, we had our moment, she turns around and says, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and is there for her sister.
She's not there for her.
She is.
She's not.
How
What
is
she
she
says
not?
is basically, you fucked this up. I mean, by the end.
She did fuck it up.
No, she didn't. I think she made the right choice. But by the end, she does finally say, I understand why you made the choice. But it took her a while to get there. And when she first finds out, she's very much like second guess. And at that point, here's the thing. At that point, it was done. There's nothing she could do. And instead of being supportive, like Orion was with Darius, she's, why did you do that? But,
Well, it's because, like, you know how when you were like, well, I'm glad Caleb decided to tell Darius the truth.
Yeah.
Would it have been okay for Darcy to be like, yeah, you made the right decision, when she didn't? Because she didn't make the right decision.
Have to say that,
Yeah, I don't.
But she didn't have to say what she did.
I think maybe you're reading Darcy's honesty with her as her criticizing her, when I think that Darcy is just in that moment reacting to what she's saying and being honest with her in that moment. Maybe it was not the right thing to say to her in that moment, but I don't think that Darcy is like not giving her grace on that, because she then goes, I understand why you made that decision. And even though I don't think it was the right one to make for these reasons, I still support you in that. Like, she was like, I understand why you did that. So I feel like Darcy did do a good job coming down from her mate probably died, came back to life. Tory was not there the whole time, and then they don't hear from Tory at all. And then she comes in the next morning and Tory's in bed. And so it's just
finds
like
her in bed.
Reactionary.
Not hurt.
Yeah, so it's just reactionary. I don't think that Darcy's assuming that Tory was like, going to try to betray them in any way. But in that moment, she's like, why did this happen? Why weren't you there? Like, I don't think that
she feels very hurt.
Yeah, I just don't think that it's right to say that Darcy was not supportive of her sister in that moment, because I feel like she put away a lot of emotion, still worrying about what just happened, in order for her to like be there for Tory. And then she continues to be afterwards. She's like, I'm going to fix you up. Like, I'm going to make you feel better as to the best that I can, while you also, want to put up the front or whatever.
Do you think by the end she was a little bit better? But I would be very hurt if, in a situation where the outcome could not be changed, if somebody was telling me I made the wrong decision. Like, Tory already, at that point, I think, is starting to understand what it means. And that doesn't help to, like, drive it in. Like, yep, you fucked this up. Okay. I think I would be very upset and hurt, instead of somebody just saying, hey, this sucks. Yeah. I know it sucks. What can we do?
But at the same time, Tori continues to make bad decision after bad decision.
See, to me, Darcy is the one that continues to make
bad decisions.
But I feel like you give excuses to her or grace to her, but for Tori, she's making bad decisions and she deserves it. She's choosing it.
I'm not necessarily giving excuses or grace to Darcy. I'm saying that in this incident, where, if Tori is ever going to learn to make better decisions, she needs to be told, this is why you made a bad decision.
I don't think she made a bad decision. And even when she explains it, it is reasonable why she made that decision. And like you have said before, for the stars to do it that quickly and with somebody that has no true understanding of what it means to make that choice seems wildly unfair. She's making it by mortal world reasons.
I agree with that. Like, she is. But if you even look at the words that she says that she made the decision because she thinks that would mean Darius would own her. Mm-hmm. So she made the decision out of fear.
Yeah.
Making the decision a lifelong decision out of fear that you cannot change doesn't mean it's the right decision. Because if you think about it, the bond is going to not necessarily force her to love Darius. At least that's the way she puts it, is that I'm going to be forced to love him. Why wouldn't it force him to love her back? And if you love somebody, you're not going to be cruel to them. And especially, she has noticed, or at least I think she has noticed, that Darius does things that he doesn't want to do. He just does them because he feels like he has to. And she's convinced herself that means Darius is bad because she's afraid of her own feelings.
No, she's afraid of him. And she has every right to be with the things that he has pulled, that one moment he is wonderful to her, the next moment he's talking about killing her, and it's totally fine.
So is Caleb.
Even in the divine moment, he couldn't love her. Even during that moment, he could not fully accept her because he was telling her that basically he would never support her as queen and that he had every right to continue with that aspect, which is a huge part of her.
Not really. She said from the moment she came that she didn't want the throne and that she's never been princess. She didn't know how to rule.
By then, he knew she wanted it. In that moment, he knew that she was wanting it.
And at the thing about Faye is that, especially with a role like being king or queen, you can't be given it. You have to fight for it. So it would be less respectful for him to just be like, yeah, I bow down to you.
Well, so basically what you're telling me is that things wouldn't change and he would still continue to try to kill her while professing to love her as well, because that's how Faye do it. Not necessarily kill her. But screw her over. I mean, he would still be doing the same things to her while professing to love her.
In a sense, yes, but in a sense, no. He will say that he still loves her, but does that mean he's going to give up his throne? Who knows? But does that mean that he's going to do the things that he's been doing, like trying to push her under his heel? Maybe not.
I would have to think he would if that's what he was going for. But let me ask you this. Do you think that Orion is disrespectful of Darcy?
I don't. But it's not something that he can fight for.
I'm not talking about the throne. I'm talking about the fact that he basically was like, screw the stars, screw everything else. I love you, and that's all that matters.
There's a reason why Orion is my favorite.
Okay, but to bring this back a little bit, though, I don't think that Darius loved her in that moment when they had their divine moment. And I think that is an accepted part of it, right? Like, he doesn't love her, she doesn't love him, and that's part of why the divine moment sucks. But I also don't think that Tori is afraid of him. I do think that she is afraid of her own feelings about him. I do think that she's afraid of feeling so strongly for someone that she doesn't really know what to do about it. Because like she said to Caleb, or maybe was it Caleb or Darius that she tells, I think it was Darius that she tells, no one's ever loved me, like no one's ever chosen me. And
I think she says that to Darcy.
No, I think it's to Darius.
Well, she said it to Darcy too.
Yeah. No, she says it at the throne room. She says nobody's ever chosen me.
Yes. But just to finish my thought, but I think that that's the problem. I think that she doesn't feel like he's choosing her, right? And she also is afraid to choose him because he's not actively doing the choosing as well. Because in that moment, he's telling her, oh, this is what we're supposed to do. And she's like, that makes no fucking sense. And none of this has gone the way that it should have gone. And so I do think that she was right to say no. But was it a bad decision? Yeah, kind of. But I do think she made the right choice.
Again, though, just like you said, if she's only been there a few months, she doesn't understand truly what she's doing it by mortal standards. Yeah. And so I don't think it is a bad decision on her part. I think it's an uninformed decision on her part, which is not fair.
True. It is not. It is very much not a fair decision. But I did want to say, as far as her being afraid of Darius, and I don't think she is afraid, because there's twice now she's woken up in his bed feeling completely safe.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you can fall asleep next to somebody you supposedly hate and are afraid of, and she's constantly having to remind herself, he drowned me, he called me a whore, he did this to me, he did it. It feels like I have to remind myself so that I hate him.
Yeah.
I think she doesn't trust herself.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't mean afraid physically. I don't think she's physically afraid of him. I think she's, like you said, afraid of getting hurt. Because, I'm sure we've all dated those guys where you have to remind yourself of who they really are, because they have those moments where they do the things that make you think they're just wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to step back and go, but hey, this is the person that did this to me. And that's all the guys she's dated.
Yeah.
So,
it's just, it is the stars' fault. They really fuck her over.
I feel like it's going to pay off. I feel like there's going to be a reason
fucking
for
pay
that.
off, because I'm going to be mad.
They're going to get...
Well, there can be a reason for it without the reason.
I think she's going to get a second chance in the last book. I have to think something's going to happen to where they're going to give him a second chance.
This better be the most mind-blowing, life-changing. I better be... Because at the end of the last book where she said no to him, you guys know that I was so upset. I was so mad. I was so mad.
Oh, yeah.
But to rewind, I'll just say we should agree to disagree about Darcy. We're just going to have to agree to disagree about Darcy.
I mean, I think it's awesome for us to not agree. It makes for a more interesting show.
You know what? I would love to hear from listeners. If we have any listeners, they should contact us about their thoughts about it.
True. Team Tory or Team Darcy?
Does Darcy earn herself a little leeway, or are we going too easy on her?
That's a good question. All right.
Do
we think that Seth deserves answers, though?
I'll let y'all answer.
Since she's going to have a rant.
I'm torn.
Yeah.
No rant.
I firmly believe that no one is owed anything about me. So if I have secrets or if I have something, you can choose to help, but it doesn't mean you're owed anything.
I think that in this situation, he is owed some answers. Do I think they have to tell him everything? No. But do they have to tell him some things? I feel like it's the right thing to do. I think it's only fair. I mean, he offered himself to help in that situation. She would not have gotten him back alive if he didn't come. So I feel like he deserves a few things. Yeah. a few answers.
He wants more.
And I said he doesn't deserve all of the answers. But does he deserve something? Yes. I would want to know.
I would want to know too. I'm a nosy bitch, so
The irony.
I would want to know everything, but am I owed it? I don't think so. But do I want to know?
And Christy, you said you're torn.
I mean, because I definitely get where you're coming from. I mean, he put his life on the line. He got his throat ripped out. Nobody gave a shit. So, you know, it was a couple answers here and there. And it has to do with one of his supposed best friends. And so he would want to know that as well. But at the same time, maybe the way he goes about it isn't the best.
Now's not really the time.
But yeah, I struggle with caring if he gets answers.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I'm kind of pissed at Darcy, so I enjoyed him needling her a little bit.
Oh my God.
You know.
Oh my God.
6 of one, half dozen of another.
Dude, Darcy's on the Christy chopping block right now. I don't know if she's gonna come back.
Yeah, no, I mean, she's driving me nuts a little bit right now, but she'll come back. She'll come back. It's I don't hate Darcy. She's just
for now.
I am very interested in what you're going to say by the end of this book.
Oh no!
I really hope it's better. I really hope, because I would like to get back to where I like them both.
I'm scared now.
I think I'm
None
just
of these
so
books end well. I'm just
weirdly protective of Tori. Like, I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, okay.
I just feel so protective of her. So now, if she dies, I'm going to go fucking nuts. If Darcy dies, I will also be upset. You thought something mean was going to come out of my mouth, didn't you?
Just love that it's like, if Tori dies, I'm going to go nuts. I'll be upset if Darcy dies.
No. I'm just saying. I did not mean it like that. I meant I will also be upset if Darcy dies. It is not a set situation where I would be like, okay, you know.
Well, you know, sometimes we don't know with you. Sometimes.
It's just... some shit goes down in this book. Let's just say that.
God. I'm not ready.
Life-altering shit.
Well, I'm ready for the action, so.
I'm nervous.
So Darcy talks about how Clara uses the shadows to suppress her order. Darius actually manages to overcome the shadows later on when he's facing Clara with his dragon fire. Do you think maybe her phoenix was suppressed by Clara's shadows because she just doesn't have a handle on her phoenix just yet? She's still learning the powers? Or is Clara just that strong?
I think it might be both. I think it could be that Clara is really strong with her shadows, but I also think that Darcy wasn't ready to tackle that. Like, she didn't know that it was going to happen, and she wasn't prepared for it, and also she was drained. And I think that once she has a better handle on her phoenix and she's better at handling that power, it'll go better.
We have many instances in the book where it says that Clara actually controls the shadows within somebody. How or what do you think this is going to mean for everybody who has them in the future? That Clara can control the shadows in their bodies.
So in the future they say that, or they said that before they let this bitch out?
They say that, like, when she sees Xavier notices how she, like, touches his body, and as she's touching him, the shadows in him follow her hands. And Darius also mentions that, like, where she touches, the shadows follow, and that she controls the shadows within him and can she tries to lock him down, and that's when his dragon fire. And it was only until she made him rage by kissing him that his dragon fire was able to break through the shadow lockdown.
Okay, so they can break through it. Okay.
So far, Darius is the only one who's been able to do it.
Okay.
And it was only because he raged.
Okay, I agree with Lily, though. I think once they both get a handle on it, they'll be able to break through.
What about everybody else?
They're fucked.
Poor Xavier, he doesn't even have magic.
He's going to be a dark pony.
Oh my God. A dark pony?
at least then he would be like kind of cool, you know, like maybe their dad will accept him.
You don't think he'll accept glitter dragon?
No.
Now that he has
No.
the
Oh my
Xbox
God.
stack?
His little prancing lilac butt. It's so cute.
Free the glitter dragon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Caleb has been awakened and is obsessing over Tori, and so he messages her, and she says, "Come over as long as you don't ask any questions." And Lily, I know you had some feelings about this.
Well, at least it was addressed later in the chapter. I was writing my notes as I was reading, you know, so, but in my notes that I said, am I the only one that feels a little disgusted that she immediately allowed Caleb to come to her? And then I said it felt really crappy, and I knew why she was doing it because Tori really just, that's how she distracts herself. I just hated it altogether. And I didn't like it that much before when she was kind of playing with Caleb and Darius. I might be a very jealous person at heart, so immediately I just felt bad for all involved. But I don't know, just in this instant, I was like, ew, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that, especially like right after the divine moment. And then, you know, they come to realize why it happened. And I don't know if it makes it better, but it does explain it.
Right. Even Caleb's like, I'm my own man. I made my own decisions.
Yeah.
But I liked how he handled it. I was super impressed with how compassionate he was with both her and Darius, and even taking ownership of what they did. I really liked seeing that part of Caleb.
Oh yeah. When I first read it, I was a little upset that she immediately went to Caleb. And rereading it, I was thinking about you, Lily, the whole time, because I remember you were like, Orion biting Tori was awful. He shouldn't have never bit him.
If I was in Zodiac Academy, I'd probably be a vampire because I'm very territorial. And I just immediately felt for Darius, okay? I was like, I hate that, I hate that, I hate that. Ugh. But I agree with you. I think Caleb handled it the right way. I was also very impressed.
I was a little disappointed in Caleb that he didn't immediately go, well, if it wasn't me, who else has been pushed at her? Duh.
Okay, well, he's a little dumb.
Yeah. Well, he's all excited.
I know he is all excited.
I mean,
oh my God.
And I think in that moment, though, when he sees the rings, he just wants to help her. He feels bad for her. And he doesn't really think of the other side of who, you know, he thinks somebody did it to her.
I agree. I mean, he is very, very sweet in this scene. And I was just disappointed because very much like Lily, it's like once you found your mate, you're supposed to only be with your mate. But Max, I wanted to punch him. I know he was angry on Darius's behalf and whatnot, but he was the one who sat there and was pushing Darius away. He didn't listen to Darius's feelings, and he was like, we just need to get Tori out of our lives forever. And now he's like, how dare you sleep with her when she's Darius's?
Doesn't he say that too, that he feels bad for not listening?
He does.
So he recognizes that he kind of fucked up.
He does. Yeah. But after he punches Caleb.
I thought it was kind of funny, but I don't know. I liked that Max expressed that he felt bad that he wasn't truly being a good friend to Darius. I thought that was admirable about him, that he was like, I should have known, I should have listened to him more when he came to me and was open and like vulnerable. I shut him out. Like I shut him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty good, and it made me feel better about him being Jerry's mate.
See, Jerry's already at work on him.
Exactly.
So, Elysian mates are very rare, so...
Are you trying to tell me they're not mates?
I don't know.
No.
I don't
about
know
Jerry
about
and
that.
Mac? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, just by her reaction, they are super Elysian mates. Absolutely.
Yeah, right? Right? They've got to be. The way he woke up and acted like his whole life had changed.
Or
Yeah.
she's just that good in bed.
Yeah.
I mean, from
That's
the
possible.
moment that Elysian mates meet, they're supposed to be drawn together. So,
And all I'm saying is he
but he
cannot stay
wasn't drawn
away.
to her until the eclipse.
I don't know about that.
Well, they got to start somewhere.
I don't know about that because he noticed her before.
He did notice her before.
Yeah, stop trying to do your little manipulation on me, ma'am. I know the truth.
I'm just saying, so far in the entire series, we know of Gabriel having an Elysian mate and Tori. Those are the only two people in this entire world that we've been told have an Elysian mate so far.
And I'm saying, I don't care if the writers did not write it. It is in my brain correct.
And I guess King Hale and Marissa were also Elysian mates. But still,
Yeah.
that's three.
And apparently
three
some
couples.
guy that killed his Elysian mate's dad. Was that it?
Oh yeah, yeah. That was the most famous case of star-crossed.
Although in that part, I was a little, because was it Orion that was saying something to the effect of that he didn't understand why she did it? But he was one of the first to tell Darius, like, you kind of deserve, So, and I understand he's kind of in a moment, but.
It goes back to the fact that if you notice, Caleb is horrified.
Yeah.
By the star-crossed.
Because they know what it means.
Orion is horrified. Marguerite is horrified.
I think she's horrified at losing her.
Until she finds out that, her mate was Darius. But when she first meets, she's like, what? Or when she first sees the eyes, she's like, what?
Yeah.
So everybody just seeing these eyes are horrified because it's such an unthinkable act.
Yeah.
And so he understands why like Darcy says, you can understand why somebody made a conversation or why they made a decision, but also not, because he can't understand why she didn't understand that Darius would protect her. Everything would have changed because of the mate bond. You cannot hurt your mate.
You can't physically hurt your mate, or you can't any hurt, like emotional.
Like, okay, so let me give this example. In the Ruthless Boys series, it's one girl, 4 guys. The 4 guys are massive rivals. There's only 2 of them that are even kind of friends. And they think they're astral adversaries. They cannot share whatsoever. And as soon as they become Elysian mates with this girl, they learn to share. They get along. I mean, they still rib each other like friends, but it's like their whole dynamic changed.
Yeah.
It's because the Elysian mate the bond overcomes everything.
Well, I think Orion is probably also protective of Tori in a brotherly way.
Yeah.
He hurts for Tori, and I think he definitely hurts for Darius.
Yeah.
All right. So Darius knows about Lance and Darcy now.
Finally. At least in this moment, he can't be pissed at Lance because Lance just died. So I think it was good timing.
Yeah. But do you think maybe it might become some bitter thing where he's like, I can't love Tori, so you can't love Darcy?
No.
You don't think that he'll get irrationally jealous?
I think he'll be jealous, but I don't think he's gonna. I don't know. I can't see him really lashing out about it. I think he could get jealous and a little bit butthurt about it because Darius is a little bit of a baby.
A little bit.
I don't think that. Yeah, but I don't think he would really. At this point, where we are with Darius's feelings and his mental state, I can't see him going out of his way to make a big fuss about it, because why would he want to alienate Lance right now?
Later on, Lionel tells Darius to keep the twins under his heel. Do you think that this knowledge will stop him? Do you think he'll follow his dad's orders?
I don't think that he would happily blindly follow Lionel's orders. But up to this point, it's been a weird mixture of sort of following his orders and sort of not. So I can't say that he would willingly do it, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Lance also starts finally realizing that maybe the person they brought back from the Shadow Realm wasn't Clara after all. I know y'all thought maybe she wasn't. Maybe she was. Has anything changed in your mind about whether or not this is Clara?
I think it's Clara.
You think it's Clara?
I think the shadows are a part of her, but she was his guardian. They already had like a sick, freaky bond anyways.
I was gonna say the guardian. If it isn't Clara, the guardian bond is a soul bond.
I get it, but still, it's creepy. Like, it's funny. Like, Lance and Darius doesn't bother me. That's cool, but
no, it's disgusting.
It's the whole like daddy-daughter thing is bleh. But
her calling him daddy, her grabbing his junk in front of Darius and Catalina is just so repulsive. Like,
she's so
I think
gross.
She's more theatrical as a shadow princess, but I feel like there has to have been something of Clara that was, because she willingly followed him. She chose to do that. And there may be other circumstances, and could be totally wrong, but yeah, I feel like there's maybe his sister was a little bit crazy to begin with.
Well, speaking of the guardian bond, I mean, she said she's been feeling it and she's been in the Shadow Realm for what, 4 or 5 years?
I thought you said it was muffled.
I know when they go to the human world, it's muffled, but I didn't remember this until I read it. But Clara says to Lionel, I felt the bond the whole time. Yeah. He didn't feel it at all.
But she did.
And
that's why she's fucking nutso now.
Probably.
Well, that's one reason.
Yeah. Say, imagine feeling 4 or 5 years of being stuck in another dimension, needing to be with that ugly, I'm sorry, he's ugly in my brain. That ugly bastard. I know he's supposed to be like good looking, but he's ugly in my brain.
Nope. He's hideous in my brain.
Yeah, he's ugly in my brain. Do y'all think that might have contributed to her craziness?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Especially when Darius and Orion were like, we couldn't be apart for 3 days. 4 or 5 years. Not to mention she starved the whole time.
I'm curious to see what she was like before all that. Does that ever go into her
I bet
past?
she was crazy before. I bet she was kind of crazy before.
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, she did willingly walk into that pit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's my thing.
And that also aggravates me because she's like, I killed Lance because he was a bad brother. He didn't come save me. Neither did Lionel, bitch.
Yeah. Neither did Daddy.
Neither did Mama.
I don't think she would have expected her to.
But no, she holds Lance accountable because he didn't come save her. Even though Lionel literally forced him to watch her die, basically, or what he thought was her dying, and he couldn't leave his own guardian person. So, yeah. I was just very, very upset by the fact that she blamed Lance. And she doesn't stop blaming Lance, except for, Daddy told me I had to forgive him.
Yeah, that was creepy. Although, for Lance even wondering, though, because who was it that said that she's probably going? Was it Darius that said she's probably going to Lionel? And he was like, oh, I hope not, or something.
Yeah, it was Darius.
Yeah.
And you're like, seriously? Your sister's nuts. Like, now is the time to admit that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's hoping for better.
I'm willing to give him extra grace, so. But I still was like, dude, at some point we're going to have to, like, face it.
And Orion admits to Darius as the final secret he's holding that Seth's been holding the Darcy secret over him since Halloween. And Darius is like, I will handle this. It's fine. He won't bother you anymore.
Which can I just say, not necessarily including Darius, but as a general rule, when someone says that to me, that's like the hottest thing they could say to me. Don't worry, I'll handle this. Oh, okay. Okay. Go off. Love that.
Before you got to the chapter where he does handle it, what did y'all think he was going to do?
Talk to him.
Just be like this.
Yeah.
Hey,
I thought
guys.
there was going to be a little bit of violence.
I did not think he was gonna beat him up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
How
I just
dare
thought he
you
would get
fucking
angry.
fuck with Lance?
Ah, good stuff. No, it worked out better in my opinion, but I thought he was just gonna get angry at him and talk to him.
I love that Seth we'll talk about that later. Sorry.
Okay,
um,
okay, yeah.
and Caleb and Orion both make vows to fix Darius's fate. Do you think he's gonna do this? I mean, y'all kind of sort of implied that you do think it's gonna change.
Yes, I do think somebody's gonna fix it. I don't know if it's gonna be Caleb. I have faith in Orion though.
You know what would be awesome?
What?
If Gabriel could just see how to fix it.
Oh, that would be really nice, but that would be too easy.
It would.
Well, and one thing I want to go back to that Lily you mentioned is because this was one piece that I kept noticing is you noted that he calls her Tori. And I think that is so kind of telling. And basically what he calls her kind of determines how he's feeling.
Does it though?
But he calls her Roxy in his head though,
Mhm.
when he's missing her. So I don't know if that's really an indicator.
Feel like it's more along the lines of an indicator of when he truly sees her for her. I think when he sees her as he wants to see her is when he calls her Roxy. Like his version of her.
I don't know if that's fair. I don't know. I think that at this point, at first it really bothered me that he continued to call her Roxy because it's just a pet peeve of mine. But I think at this point it's like an endearing name for her in a weird way. I don't like obviously like he's the only one that calls her that. And so in some ways it's kind of like special between them.
Okay, so because since you were the one that noted he calls her Tori, I guess what was the story behind that?
I thought it was really weird that he called her Tori there because he calls her Tori at the divine moment, and he calls her Tori when he's talking to Orion and telling Orion that this stuff happened between them. But then when it comes to everything else, when he's talking to her face, when he's thinking about her, it's always Roxy. And so I was trying to figure out why in that moment, why did he call her Tori to Orion? I don't understand. And it doesn't make sense to me thinking about it from your perspective because what would he have been seeing about her when he was talking to Orion if when he used Tori?
I know the answer. I can't speak.
I know he tells her something about why he uses that name. I think it's to kind of give him a wall between them. Doesn't he tell her that like during the divine moment that he used because she asked him because he says Roxy at first and
He does say in the divine moment something about that he uses it as a way to distance himself.
right,
I feel.
yeah.
I think that's what he said. But I think that's what he says, but it's not actually the truth.
Okay.
I didn't know when he said that. So if he's already said it, I don't think they address it again. So I'm gonna
Go ahead.
he uses Roxy to remind himself how powerful she is and what her potential is. And if he thinks about her as Tori, he can think about her as this little mortal girl who is not a threat, who is not anything really worthy of being Fae. So he always
We
tells
should look up his
yeah,
words.
he always tells himself that she's Roxy to remind himself who she is.
Okay.
We should look up his words because I don't remember reading it that way.
Okay.
Like in the moment when I was hearing it, I got sad because I felt that what he was saying was actually kind of shitty. So I need to reread that. Let me see if I have it.
Anybody
Re-download it.
know what chapter
Christy, do you have it?
I have it on my phone.
I have it on my laptop. I just have to find the right chapter.
Okay.
He says it's something similar like that. Something that he basically uses it as either like a reminder or a wall to protect himself or something.
It's not to protect himself. It's a reminder of who she is.
Well, yeah, but in a way that like he doesn't underestimate her or he doesn't maybe have feelings for her.
That's how I read it too, Christy.
It's not necessarily to have feelings for her. It's to remind her, or it's to remind himself not to treat her as a human, as somebody who's not worth anything, basically. Because that's what
pull up the text.
Yeah, because I definitely read it differently.
I'm confused. I guess I just didn't read it in that light. Like when I heard it on the audiobook, I was like, that's kind of shitty. Or at least the way I understood it when I was reading it. Because I thought for sure it was going to be a good reason, and then I got sad.
I was the same way.
My understanding of it can be influenced by me reading the boy's point of view from The Awakening. Yeah. Let's see. I don't call you Roxy because I'm trying to hurt you. I use that name so I don't forget who you are and what you are. You are a Vega princess. You could shatter everything I worked for my whole life, and if I didn't force myself to remember that fact, then I knew it would be too easy for me to forget about challenging you and knocking you down and just let myself imagine you could be something else. So it's, again, to not underestimate her, but
that sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible, but it was so that he didn't do things like Caleb, where he got too close to her, and to remind himself that she's not just some silly little girl. She is a powerful princess.
Right, but the way it comes out is that he wants to remind himself that she is a powerful princess because she's a threat. That's how it sounds in the book.
Yeah,
but
I can see that.
But I could feel, I understand how reading the boy's perspective could have changed that. But from the book, as soon as I heard that in the audiobook, I was like, damn, why the fuck would he say that? Like I was like, that's terrible.
To be fair, in this world, being told that you're a powerful threat is a compliment.
Not in this instance, though. Not for this particular. He
said shatter everything that he has worked for.
Mm-hmm. He's worked for the throne. She owns the throne.
I'm just saying, he didn't say, I call you Roxy because I think it's a loving term, because I enjoy calling you that. I call you Roxy because I have to remind myself that you could ruin my life. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I have to treat you like shit.
I have to be, I have to be on Christy's side on this one.
I agree. It was not well said, but it is something I can understand his point of view, in the sense that I have to remind myself that you're this powerful princess who shouldn't be underestimated. And it's kind of a compliment in a way for the Fae, that she shouldn't be underestimated, that she is a threat, is a compliment to them, because nobody else is a threat to the heirs.
I think that's a nice way to spin it.
Yeah, and I don't think that shit would fly if this was Orion saying that to Darcy.
It's just the way that Darius tends to think. He thinks in terms of power because that's how he was raised. They all generally think in terms of power, but Darius more so than others because of fucking Lionel.
Well, it brings me back to, I do want to move on, but it does bring me back to the point that I was making, that why did he use Tory when he was talking to Orion? Because that confuses me. But let's move on to something else, because I feel like we might get stuck there.
We get our first point of view from Xavier.
Oh, wait. Can we just acknowledge the fact that when Orion and Darius are cuddling, and Darius has got all the gold on.
Oh, God.
And Christy put in the notes that she was just picturing Darius, like, cuddling Orion while Darius looked like a 90s rapper.
Oh, my God. Yeah, that cracked me up.
Oh, my God.
I love their relationship. Even though it's a forced, it's because that stupid bond that was forced on them. Their platonic sexual relationship is the best, even though it's never sexual.
No,
yeah.
I love them too.
Yeah.
And if it were not for that bond being forced on them, he would never have met Darcy. That's what put him in her path.
True.
True.
Very true.
Maybe.
Because he's a teacher.
Yeah, but Darius and Orion were friends before, so who's to say Orion wouldn't have come back to hang out with Darius?
Yeah, but not the same kind of setup as... So something good came out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
She's like, no.
No, it's
Still
funny
no.
because
It's funny because they're Elysian mates and she doesn't want to say that and that they would have been drawn to each other.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I did not say that. I did not say that.
Did. You're right, Lily.
They get a future. In the future, they'll get a vision left by their mother of what could have been if the king and queen hadn't have died.
Ah.
Anyway, so we get our first point of view chapter from Xavier. What did y'all think?
Xavier!
Yeah.
This is his second POV, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, because the first one is when he's talking about he's doing the glitter dragon. He's talking about his Xbox.
That's right.
Have we had just one POV from him or more?
I think so. He'll get added more in later. But
because also when he's texting Sophia, and I know one of those was during that time, but
it's always so sad to read his POV because Lionel's keeping the house cold and he can't drink anything but maybe lemonade, and poor guy's just suffering.
Lemonade is his treat drink because Lionel only likes wine and water.
Right, yeah.
But speaking of the house being cold, so Lionel has fire magic, so he keeps the house cold because he can use his magic to warm himself up. Xavier has no magic, so he can't because he hasn't been awakened yet. And with Xavier's status right now, he's being locked into the house, doesn't know if he'll even be awakened, doesn't know if he'll attend Zodiac. Do y'all think that he's going to be allowed to be awakened?
No.
Yes.
You think he'll be allowed or that he will?
I'm not sure, but I think he will be awakened. I'm not sure if they'll allow him or not.
I agree. I think he will do it, but I don't think Lionel's going to give the go-ahead.
I could see Lionel trying to use him, though, and awakening him for that, but I'm not sure if that would happen.
So if he does get awakened and he guesses on his magic, the way that the counselors do, they like plan their births around their making sure that their children are born under the correct star sign. So Xavier is a Sagittarius, so he'll definitely have fire. Do we think that that's going to be his only element? Will he have two like Darius? Darius has water and fire. And if he does have two, which ones do you think he'll have?
Air.
You think he'll have air?
I was going to say air as well.
Lionel has air and fire.
I hope he has 3 elements.
3?
Yes. How cool would that be?
That would be great.
So if he gets 3,
that would
which
make me
ones?
so happy.
Earth. Just to be like the big middle finger to Lionel. Like have 3.
Hell yeah. That would be so funny if he had 3 elements and it just pissed Lionel off.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
But wouldn't that put Darius' position in jeopardy as the most powerful?
Yeah, but
what an adorable king Xavier would make. His little horsey crown.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, a glitter crown?
Yes! They could prance through the streets.
Oh my god, could you imagine if a Pegasus was more powerful than a dragon?
Yeah. They would be moved up the social order all the way to the top. Pegasus would be partying all day, every day.
He sparkles everywhere.
Orgies in the streets.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord.
So how do you think Sophia would react finding out that Philip is Xavier then?
She'd lose her mind. If he had 3 elements, obviously. But
I mean, just finding out that, oh, I've been texting Darius's brother.
I think she will treat him the same.
I think so too.
It's funny. My phone did this weird thing on our group chat today, and it brought up the text that you sent that said, if Xavier ends up with Sophia, I'm going to be like furious because she should end up with Tyler.
I wouldn't actually be that angry. However, I do like Tyler, and I am sad if that doesn't work out for him. Can't they just be a throuple? Like a polyamorous
Oh my gosh.
thing?
I mean, can you see Tyler? Like, he's already been like, hold on. Have
What?
we gotten there yet?
To a throuple?
Yeah. Okay, I will cut that out, or we'll cut that out. So it should come up soon.
When are we going to find out Diego's order? Order, I say with quotation marks because he's a nymph.
By the end of this book.
Oh, okay.
I just think he's a nymph.
It will be revealed by the end of this book.
At the end or near the middle or
Be specific.
At the end.
damn.
It's like the last chapter. The last line.
It's not, I don't think it's the last chapter. It's just, the book ends in a battle.
Uh-oh.
And
he has to show his true form. It just is what it is.
he finally finds his order.
She's laughing.
Lily's like, yeah, he's totally an imp. It's fine.
Yeah, by finding his order, you mean he reveals that he's a nymph.
So by the end of this book, we will know.
Okay. Fire enough. All right.
So, Christy, you had some interesting thoughts about Catalina. Want to talk about them?
Well, she gets in the new Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So she replaces it, even though the father was like, yeah, I don't want you to play this anymore. Because y'all had talked about the dark coercion last week potentially being used on her. If that's the case, I mean, maybe she breaks out of it. Maybe she comes through in the end because she was willing to go against Lionel to take Xavier to the mortal world. So there's something there. So,
Yeah.
I think so far what we've seen from her is that she is willing to show some emotion for her sons. Whether or not she's willing to go against Lionel.
But she did. Taking him to the mortal world, wasn't that?
Yeah, but that wasn't he didn't tell her not to take her or take Xavier. She just kind of did it. And that was to protect her son because Darius told her that he was in danger. So would she step against Lionel if it wasn't her son? I don't know. Well, I do know, but I can't tell you.
I don't know. It might have to do with her son or sons before she would do it. But still, there might be a little something there to...
And you would think that if she was being dark coerced too, that Lionel could just be like, I command you to remove the safeguard you did for Xavier so I can kill him.
That's true. Okay.
So Catalina's up in the air.
Maybe she's biding her time.
And flirting with Orion.
Okay, that's just creepy.
With her fake tits. I swear, how many times are her fake tits mentioned? I'm just saying.
He didn't mention them this time, which I took note of because you said that last time.
He didn't. Though he is like, dude, your wife is right there.
Yeah.
And yet you got this naked girl who's only like 5 years older than me and not really 5.
Yeah, that whole scene is kind of crazy.
Kind of disgusting. Puking worthy.
Yeah.
So Clara keeps declaring herself the Shadow Princess. What do you think this means? The nymphs are from the Shadow Realm. Do you think she's the queen or princess of the nymphs?
Feels that way.
Or does she just have super wonderful control over all the shadows?
I mean, I think it could be either or both, but right now it feels like she seems to have some sort of claim on the shadows as a power, and that leads me to believe she's connected to the nymphs. I'm not sure what else it would mean, though.
And declaring Lionel as king.
That was interesting too. So I take it she was in on the whole plan for him to kind of take over and be king, for her
Oh,
to
yeah.
refer to him as that.
She was in on the plan to get him the shadow power, so she might have known about it before participating in the ritual. As far as her return, I don't think that was ever planned.
Not so much that, I just meant the plan for him to be king, like before she went into the shadow.
Oh yeah.
That
I think Lionel has planned to be king for quite a while. But Xavier is forced to take Clara to Lionel, and it appears that she might be stronger than him. How do you think that he's gonna deal with that?
I think that he's going to have trouble reining her in. And I think he's going to try.
You don't think that he might, like, backstab her?
I think he's going to wield her like a weapon. Or he's going to try to.
I think he's going to try.
I think it's going to go, I think Lily's right. I think it's going to go horribly wrong. And he's going to lose control of her. But
to be fair, though, he does have that guardian bond on her. So
I don't know if she really gives a shit about that anymore. I think she might just be nuts enough to love the pain.
I think she could delude herself into thinking she's doing the right thing on his behalf, and then make all these decisions without him, and be insane, and make crazy decisions.
Yeah, I very much see her as like Drusilla. Like,
she is crazy pants.
Yeah, like he's not going to be able to control her.
That's what I was thinking.
So you mentioned that you thought that you were worried that Clara might end up as the big bad and Lionel might be on the side of good?
Okay, that was more of a like, oh my God, what if kind of thing for Lionel. But
what?
I kind of what I was talking about, if she became big bad enough that he realized he couldn't control her, would he then try to repartner with everybody else to try to take her down? That was more of a oh my gosh kind of thing. But I do wonder if she's going to be the big bad, like that, the ultimate one that they'll have to defeat.
Do you think that he would ever be man enough to admit that he can't control her?
No, but I think he's weenie enough to not want to lose his house and his money and his position.
Glitter weenie enough?
Oh no, that is glitter weenies are way above him.
You're right.
It could be
the glitter.
He's a wart weenie.
It could be like the triple D, Darius's dragon dick.
This is like going off the rails.
1,000%. Yeah.
All right. So going back to Darius, he leaves Orion's house and gets caught by Washer. And Washer rubs his dick against the window.
What's wrong with him? What is
everything?
Genuinely, and what's wrong with the authors? Because they continue to write this. Mm-hmm. What the fuck? Why?
Yeah, no. And you asked about Jenkins, why he would do things against Darius when eventually Darius would take over.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Jenkins is not thinking that far ahead. And also, Lionel is trying to make Darius into this heartless, cruel person. And Jenkins is maybe thinking once he finally gets to that point, he'll realize that I just like to be heartless and cruel too.
But wouldn't he be like your first person you target? I don't know. It just doesn't seem like a very good long-term employment plan.
It doesn't. Yeah. No.
Somebody's going to be licking toilets.
Maybe he thinks Lionel's going to figure out how to live forever.
That's true.
Or that Lionel will end up killing Darius.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just thought that was odd that he would, for the first kind of firstborn, the heir, you would think he would be kissing his ass.
You'd think. But he's kissing Lionel's ass. Catalina has this moment when she sees Darius's eyes where she finally shows us some emotion.
Yeah, she freaks out and kind of runs up to him. And I think she grips his face. Like, what happened?
I didn't ever catch this before, but here it says that Darius says that he has heard rumors that Lionel lends his wife to his political buddies for support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that made me physically cringe. I just went, oh no, like that's the worst. God, I hate that so much.
Do you think it's like real? Does he do this to her? Does she do it willingly?
I could see him doing that to her, but I don't think she'd do it willingly.
But I thought that his reputation as a like sweet guy or a nice guy was important to him. Like his face that he shows to his family is different. But if he's lending his wife out, that means there's other people out there that know what he's really like.
Oh yeah, there are other people out there who know what he's like. For example, Dante Oscura, who he blackmailed into fathering Juniper's kids.
Which is only mentioned here in passing, by the
Yeah,
way.
Yeah.
and Dante has an Elysian mate.
But all those are like blackmail. But if you're lending somebody out to multiple people,
As a
then
favor, though, so like it's like a payoff.
yeah.
So or a bribe. Do you think those people
It just
are?
seems like that. I guess my thought with that was that it was odd that he would do something that he could be blackmailed over.
Do you think he cares? He could just call his wife a whore.
Yeah, but if you've got multiple people that can come forward and say no, he provided her. I don't know. It was kind of weird
If
that
somebody tries to blackmail him, I think he'd have them killed.
probably, but there's, I think, a certain extent you can't go cross so many lines, and until he's really taken over this, you know, kingdom, then he has to be somewhat careful. It seems like a risk. I don't know. It seemed like an odd risk. No?
I
Okay.
don't
That's
know,
fine.
because I just the way that these people are, they like when the girls got called a sex addict and a crazy person.
Yeah.
Caleb was like, "Well, if I come out and deny it, or if they come out and deny it, that would not go over well." So I just don't see somebody accusing somebody else of doing wrong unless there's like foolproof evidence.
I didn't think they needed evidence.
Well, sometimes not. Like the only thing that would really be wrong for Lionel in this instance is if it was against the law, and then there would be a trial. But is it against the law? And would the Fae think it's
I
wrong?
don't know if it'd really be against the law. I just thought it was more of he's pretending to have this perfect family. But yeah.
All right. So Darius attacks Clara. I don't know if he really thought this one through.
He really didn't because he brought a knife, but like, did you think that that was just gonna work?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Plus,
it?
Ryan just died to bring her back. How do you think he was going to feel?
Yeah, I guess. Although she did try to kill Orion, so,
True.
uh,
I will say this. I wrote down Catalina is open to the needs of my bond with Clara being fulfilled. It's like, is she, or is she grateful that she doesn't have to sleep with you anymore?
well, that, but also, like, he's probably dark coercing her to do everything, so.
True. Might be. Christy, you ask why they don't go to the other counselors about the shadows and his plans to take over. I mean, you were like, I understand why they don't, but you wish that they would. Do you think the counselors would believe them?
I don't know. I think if they felt like there was enough of a threat to their position, they might take steps, but honestly, by the time they did, Lionel would probably kill them. So,
Yeah. I mean, I questioned the same thing, but I just don't know.
So, I mean, without showing proof, the counselors are very like, I'm going to step back. We can't do anything because we're all equal and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And Stella's jealous that she's gotten replaced by her daughter, which is
Oh, yikes. That was such a, like, eesh moment. I was just like, ew, it's gross, but also it's fucked up, but also it's like, what is he gonna do? What is Stella gonna do?
Do you think he'll fuck them both?
No, I don't think Stella would allow it.
You think Stella has any say?
Well, maybe not. That's even worse.
What about you, Christy?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be both.
Okay, so Lionel reveals his plans to take over the throne, finally, and that it's happening soon. Do we think the other counselors will fight against them? Will they join the Vegas, or will they submit to Lionel?
I don't know what to think. I don't know where their allegiances lie, how much they put faith in Lionel as a leader, you know?
So the chapter where Tori reveals herself to the school about her being star-crossed, the heirs are actually decent to her for a second. Like we haven't seen that much of them, but they're very kind to her. Max and Seth, at least.
Yeah, I mean, they're like weirdly nice, but I think it's sad because it's like probably not for the right reasons. Like it's kind of out of pity a little bit.
You wrote in here that you're worried about Tori in the shadows.
Oh yeah. Okay. I mean, I feel like she's playing with them an awful lot. And I know she's trying to
Yeah.
control them, but I feel like she's doing it on her own without any kind of help.
Yeah. Do you think she's going to give in to them?
No, not totally. I think there's going to have to be something that she can still break free, but maybe not before she does some damage somewhere. I don't know.
Well, if you remember, I don't remember if it was Orion saying it to Darcy or Tori, but he was like, what made you feel so hopeless that you gave in, or you gave in so much? And now she's literally going to be miserable for the rest of her life because the stars are going to make her miserable. You think that's going to make things worse?
Yeah, I do. That's what I'm kind of worried about with her.
Yeah. There's a moment where Caleb's looking into Tori's eyes at the beginning, and he's like, her eyes look even darker. That's the shadows. Like, the shadows are taking over in this moment. Like, she's not doing well.
Yeah. So, due to the nymph attacks, there are new measures going up around the school. There's going to be awards around the school, which will not keep them in, but will register whenever they leave and go. And there's no more curfew.
I thought it was funny that it just reminded me of Harry Potter again because in Harry Potter like argues for them to be able to learn defensive magic and offensive magic at the same time, and they're like, no, we don't want to teach everyone that, and that's exactly what they're doing in Zodiac Academy. I just thought it was funny that it's similar.
Oh yeah, they get to start elemental combat lessons, which they're not supposed to get until their senior year, but everybody's getting it. How do we think that's gonna go? Thoughts?
I mean, I think it's a good idea, but what will that mean? Could be chaos.
Will the girls get their asses kicked?
I hope not.
I don't know. If so, I think it'll just be at first. I think at some point they're going to lay everybody out.
Okay. All right. And Washer is now going to be with the cheerleaders. That is like the worst place you could put him.
Mm-hmm.
What is she thinking?
Like, why? Why did they write this?
Tori's like, it's going to make cheerleading even worse.
I just can't believe that they continue to write him into these situations. I get it, he's the comic relief, but damn.
But is he?
I think he's supposed to be the comic relief.
Yeah.
Which the rest of them are pretty funny too, but...
Yeah, so after being called out in front of everybody when Darius shows up, Tori runs out and Lance follows her. And Lance...
Mm-hmm.
He gives her this apology, and I'm going to read it. When you first came here, I assumed the two of you would be weak girls incapable of rising up to claim your position claim the position you've been born for. I thought you'd be all sorts of things, and no matter which of them were true, I didn't once consider the idea that you might actually be capable of claiming your birthright or that you might deserve it. And I was wrong about that. This is why this man and the friendship bracelet.
Oh my God. The friendship bracelet. I think you mentioned that before, Christy. So I was like laughing in my head about that.
Oh, I love that.
And I love that she says she felt less lonely.
Yeah.
I just love that.
I love the two of them together.
I do too. They're cute.
They're great. Mm-hmm.
It's another very platonic relationship that I love.
Yes, they are great together. I think that they are a good team.
All right, so next chapter, this is where Seth is kind of being an ass, demanding where he wants his information. And they go to Cardinal Magic class, and Orion is a really unpredictable hero. It's like, oh yeah, let's joke around. And then, you've got detention. You've got detention.
Oh my God. This whole chapter was cracking me up.
Yeah. It really was so funny. Mm-hmm. And you picked out some of the best stuff for the notes.
Yeah.
And Tyler, I don't care if Tori Vega is starting her own bakery back there and using Polaris as a rolling pin.
Oh my God, yeah. Although, yeah, but Tyler throwing her under the bus, like Tori did it.
Well, Tori's eating.
And
Tori gets fair is a concept.
Yes, oh my God, I love that. Yeah.
It's like, you're a Libra. You're supposed to be fair. No, I'm supposed to worry about justice. And that's different for everybody.
It's so funny.
Oh, okay. But I did like the part that Lily pointed out about if I say Tori Vega can have a bake sale and employ her sister as a cupcake stand, then I will be first in line for the grand opening.
No, I lost it. I was laughing so hard. And it doesn't help that when I'm at work, I'm like quietly laughing to myself. So I'm just like trying not to laugh at all of this. He's so funny.
And Kylie being a dumbass, of course.
Yeah, what does she say? She says, or Tyler says something along the lines of that he's playing favorites.
Yeah.
And Kylie says, yeah, or whoever can suck his dick the best, or something like that.
Which is something that can land him in jail.
Right. Although he is doing it, but it can land him in jail.
But still.
But how dare she insinuate that of him?
Exactly. I mean, y'all think that, Darcy's his Elysian mate, so there's an exception.
And he starts throwing coins or something. I can't remember what he's throwing.
He teaches them how to make illusions, and so he gives everybody a coin. Right. And he bounces it off of Tori's desk and hits Diego in the eye.
Hijo de puta.
Which is funny because Darcy sits next to her, so it should have hit Darcy.
So he made it hit Diego. That's so funny.
And I love that. I love that he goes along with I hope you learn this because I don't want to find your glittering dicks. I only found the one in Caleb's room, but...
And then Tyler says something like, I bet he's got one shoved up his ass at all times.
Yeah, and then he gets detention.
Oh, man. Orion was on some fuck shit this chapter. I don't know what he was going after, but he just, he almost died. He had to get all that energy out. He had to get it all out.
Yeah.
That cruelty. And I love that Darcy's like, I am shamefully turned on in this moment.
So yeah, he makes Darcy stay behind and he immediately wants to make out with her. And Diego's like, sir, I need to talk.
And Darcy's like, we have to stop.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm busy. Please, sir, it's important.
But he says that he can show them a memory from the hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to make sure I was not misremembering that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so he makes them do a star promise that he will not betray them. And he has to show up at the cove to also do a promise with Darius and Tori.
So I know this is probably wrong, but I wanted to point out what I was thinking in that moment, which was how crazy is it that Diego, if we're still doing our Harry Potter analysis, Diego in this moment reminds me a lot of Snape because it really makes me think of that flashback of young Snape and Lily when they look in the pensieve and they see like he's being made fun of and and like he's the standalone person and nobody likes him and his family is terrible and all that. And then he makes a promise later on in life that binds him to protect someone, right? Or that he makes a promise that's binding, a promise that's binding. And he's technically on the bad side, but he's also a double agent for the good side. I just thought that was kind of interesting.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I don't know about you guys, but I still kind of hated Snape at the end of Harry Potter. And I could see myself hating Diego at the end too. Why are you quiet, Brittany?
I'm trying not to say things. Why do you think that you'll hate him?
Because I can't get over how annoying and how annoying he is and how angry he made me. I don't think it's a good reason. I think I just am gonna have a hard time liking him. You're being awfully quiet.
I'm trying to think of how to say things without. I think Snape is a good analogy for Diego in that sense.
Okay.
Though,
except he's not smart.
A lot of people love Snape, so.
Well, I was saying Diego's not smart, but Snape is.
And Darcy is not his Lily.
Okay, that's good. Thank God.
I feel like Diego is your Seth.
Yeah. In this moment, yes. I don't know if I can ever. I think I just got really mad about the thing at the
fair,
at the circus. Yeah, the fair. I don't know why that set me off, and like the other things in the book haven't set me off, but it just really pissed me off.
Right?
I think it's because he was like really good friends with Darcy, and all of a sudden turned on her. That just really pisses me off. I don't know. I don't care if he has an excuse.
Like the authors are, I feel like the authors are good about that.
So, is there anything that he can do to make you forgive him?
I don't know. He has to do he already did the binding promise, I guess. I don't fucking know what would make it better. I think he's just pissing me off.
I just remembered something that we didn't talk about.
What?
So this should prove how unthinkable saying no to the Elysian mate bond is, where Caleb was like, if I ended up in a divine moment with Hat Boy, I would still say yes.
I also love that they can never remember his name. Like, when Darius ends up seeing him later, he's like, what's his name?
Denzel?
Darren?
Yeah, he just goes through a list of names.
That's such a microaggression.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So Darius meets up with Seth to discuss a little secret that he's been keeping.
Right.
It's the shit beat out of him.
Oh, yeah.
Or beats the shit out of Seth.
That was nice.
And to quote Christy's notes, here it comes. I'm so excited. Darius is going to bitch slap Seth into next week.
And he did.
And he did. He did.
Oh, yes. I actually read it a couple times. I enjoyed it.
Not you rereading it. Oh my God.
Oh, yes.
That's great.
So Seth doesn't get any points for his fine, I'm not in love with her. It's just, she seems like the only person out there for me and I'm lonely.
Because he wants somebody strong.
His wolf demands a person who is equal to him.
Yeah. Why would he get points for that?
It's a guy talking about his feelings. I mean,
I think Darius is more beating it out of him. I think it's really like a share moment.
And he's like reluctant about it. And it's like the worst confession ever. Like, he's like, I don't actually like her. I'm tired of being alone. And she's right there.
He totally admits that he's jealous.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't like seeing her with him laughing and smiling and batting her eyelashes. Like,
and that means you can be a psycho?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Like, that doesn't justify anything.
Mm-mm.
Freak. Sorry, Brittany.
You're fine.
I mean, I still think that I am mostly on your side in that the fact that I think there's some good in Seth, but I do think that he's nuts for that.
Yeah.
Like, you can't excuse his behavior.
Oh, I don't think that his behavior should be excused.
Yeah.
I just think that there's more to him than meets the eye. He's a transformer.
Oh
my God.
Sometimes I wish the listeners could see our faces.
So after beating Seth, Darius goes to Air Cove. He thinks he's going to be the only one because he's early, and Tori is there, and so they start talking. And he does admit that he's watching out for her, and he's been helping her with the shadows, and he's worried about her.
I think it's good that they're trying to talk, but it is infuriating sometimes how they interact, because he, like, starts to walk away when she's asking something really important. And I know why he starts to walk away, but goddamn, turn back around for just a second. Just a minute. Like, let it fucking hail for just a minute.
Mm-hmm. What does she ask?
She starts to ask him, did you mean what you said? Did you really mean what you said in the divine moment? That's what she starts to ask him. And he gets cut off, and he starts to walk away.
I mean, at some point, like, there was a major storm. They went and hid in the cave, and the ground starts shaking, and the cave might collapse on them if they continue to be alone.
I don't care what you have to do. Run a mile away and then scream yes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you have to do. Figure it out. Like, you are a stupid bitch. Come on.
Yep.
Come on.
Love this. Fuck the stars. Darius and Tori will be together.
That's right. That's right. Fuck yeah. It's just, at this point, it feels a little annoying because it's like, it's not, like in that moment especially, it's a miscommunication trope. It's not that they won't talk to each other. It's that something keeps happening where they're misunderstanding, or something keeps happening where they get interrupted, or you know what I mean? Like, that is so frustrating.
Well, that's part of the whole, like, star-crossed bond, is that they don't want them to communicate or be together, or, you know, they will do whatever, the stars will do whatever they have to keep them apart while also still wanting to be together.
But I feel like they've done this for so long. Like, they've
That's what I was going to say.
Tired us. Yeah, exactly. They've tired us out with it.
Yep.
You know,
yep.
This is the point. You make it or you break it. Like, I don't know.
I think that's why it was so infuriating when she said no, is because we've had so much misunderstanding and miscommunication, and that was their moment. Like, that could have been their moment where they could finally fucking talk to each other. Just once.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for me, yes, I would rather her say yes and, like, let's wrap this up, you know? But.
So 2 weeks have passed, and an article appears in the Celestial Times, which I know you had a reaction to.
Wait,
oh boy.
Which article?
The one about Darius's fiance.
Oh, yeah. Oh. Yeah, I was, like, typing as I was reading.
Yeah, I was like, wait. Okay, good.
It goes from, why didn't he tell her, to, okay, He didn't do the interview.
Well, I felt like that was a big step forward for him to come to her and tell her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
yes, it was.
Maybe there's hope for him yet.
So what's his face, Mr. Pecker, totally makes up that whole entire thing. Although he did participate in the photo shoot, which I love that they have to hide her mustache behind her hand.
Like she's like giggling or something, like with her hand in front of her face.
Yeah, on a throne.
I love Tori's commentary.
I love that Darius was like, her personality is just as repugnant as her face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if he could have at least given me somebody with a decent personality, I would have been okay, but no.
He's so fair for that. Like, there's no positives to it.
Yeah, no.
I also noted in the notes that it was like, I can't believe he threatened. He was like, "We're gonna move the wedding up," and I laughed so hard because Darius was like, "Oh God," you know what I mean?
2 days after graduation, 2 days.
Anything but the wedding.
I love that it's against the law to get married while you're still in school.
That's an odd thing.
Because they are writing it like it's high school.
Exactly. Oh, okay.
But see, the thing is not everybody goes to school, so is it an age thing?
I have been reading this, I think, and I'll get reminded, but I think I have been reading this as if it's high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I realized today that they call her Principal Nova. There's no principals in college.
It's a dean. Oh.
I did not think of that.
I didn't think of that either. I've read this book a million times. I never thought of it. Yeah. Okay.
I just hate that. I hate that part about it. Also, I don't love it, but I was disgusted and entertained by the washer scene at cheerleading practice because it was so horrifying. But when he's talking to them, or when he's talking to Tori about if she needs help with anything, he's like, well, if you ever need anyone to go inside your mind, if you're having trouble with not feeling stable. And she's like, and then Gabriel walks up and is like, I'm going to help her.
I had a vision. I fixed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The words he used, I think he says something like, if you ever need anyone, I'll be happy to thrust into whatever it is. And I was like, oh my God, I can't take this.
You can explore all your nooks and crannies, which they are super in love with that phrase.
Does Gabriel kill him in the end?
I don't know.
Because Washer's getting real close to that line.
But you confused me when you said cheerleading practice because they're actually on their way to combat practice.
Oh, you're right. You're right. I think when I was reading it, I mistook it as well. And then I realized it was combat practice.
Yeah. And I love that Gabriel is like, yeah, I used my sight and I fixed the problem. It's okay.
Gabriel comes to save the day once again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Tory, Darcy, and Geraldine get moved up into the top combat group with the heirs, of course.
Uh-huh.
Any thoughts on how this scene went?
Oh, Jerry.
Oh, let's just get it out of the way. Let's talk about Jerry manhandling that guy's ass.
That's at the end when
and how happy he was.
I know,
like the storm threw this griffin out of the sky to break Tory and Darius apart. And he's like, "Oh, I broke my ass bone," and she's like, "I'll fix it for you." And Max is like, "Quit touching his ass."
But
he morphs back from being a griffin into a human, and he's naked. And so it's like this guy with his ass up in the air, and Geraldine's like grabbing him on the ass.
She is all up in there, and he is happy.
Well, he gets like his ass kicked, healed. I'd be happy
Shit
too.
is so funny. Oh God, that was laughing out loud.
Oh yeah.
But at the combat training part, I was kind of infuriated on Tori's behalf that he wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, Darius won't fight her, and I mean, I get it. He's like, I don't want to hurt you anymore.
I get it too.
But Tori is also the type of person, she needs that. Like, she doesn't want somebody who's going to be soft on her.
Yeah.
She wants that back and forth, the banter that we all read books for. Maybe not their banter. I'm not.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
Now it's not as fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then poor Darcy gets her butt handed to her by Seth too. But she's good. She's like, I'm gonna kick his ass. One day, I'm gonna kick his ass.
I do like that they seem a bit more amiable right now. I hope it stays that way.
I don't know though. Didn't you say that at some point Seth's, or has he already done it? I can't remember how many books back. I thought you said Seth was going to do something that was going to turn it back to where we didn't like him. Or
That was Halloween.
I think she did say that.
Okay.
Oh, it was Halloween.
Yeah. I was okay. So I was.
So there's not going to be one more really awful, terrible thing that Seth does?
I didn't say that.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Depends on how you look at it, honestly.
What?
Okay.
You'll understand when we get there.
Uh-oh.
So at the end of this combat training, Darius hands Tori a little black box. I want to know what y'all thought it was before you found out.
Okay. My theory was that it was a rose quartz, like Lance gave Darcy. Because he said, sorry it was late or something? Or sorry,
Yeah.
something like that. And so I was like, maybe it's a quartz, like he should have done it already. And maybe he was intending to do it now. I don't know. That was my guess.
I didn't really know. I thought it was just a gift.
But a gift.
And I thought maybe it was a
jewelry?
gift that maybe for like when they had their divine moment. I don't know. I wasn't quite sure. Yeah, like jewelry, something like that. I didn't think of the rose quartz thing. But I was wonderfully surprised.
He admits that he lost the race, which he should have done.
I was so happy.
Oh my
before
God.
now.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so happy he gave her a bike.
Yes.
A bike.
I feel like he's
My
really
heart.
trying at this point to be a good mate.
The bike is better than a rose quartz.
Mhm.
1,000
Oh, yeah.
times better.
Oh,
that could be her rose quartz.
Wait until you see it.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to see her drive it. Hear her drive it, read it.
See it. It's in your head.
See it in my brain.
Yeah. All right. So Darcy wakes up with Orion in bed, and they're having this cute little moment where he spanks her ass, and she's like, "Ooh!"
Stop.
And
I can't.
just think it's funny how she reacts whenever he spanks her. I'm telling you, these authors have a thing about spanking. But Franny calls, and she's like, excuse me, explain. Because it sounds like you just answered a phone call from your ex-girlfriend and are now going to see her, and you're leaving me here. So he admits that he's hunting nymphs with Darius and her, and he takes her with. Doesn't even have to ask her if she wants to go. He's just like, fine, get your stuff.
I felt like he handled that situation perfectly. Even if he had not brought Darcy with him, which I think he was the right decision, him telling her immediately and being like, you can come, is the right way to handle that instead of freaking out about her getting jealous. You know what I mean? Or like getting defensive or something like that.
I love that Darcy, gets a little jealous over the sword.
Oh, yeah.
Franny gave you that sword? Well, damn it, she already gave him the best gift there is, so what am I going to do?
That is a cool-ass gift.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure she'll find a way to top it.
Oh, I'm sure.
So they go and meet Franny, and she has this, like, what's with the spare?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of shitty.
Yeah, I love that Darcy's like, I am well aware of nymphs, and I am well aware of my power, and I'm well aware. Kind of talks her down.
Which is so funny because Franny ends up on her ass in the end.
She does. And so they go to this house, which is a family friend of Orion's, and they split up. Of course, Franny has to have Orion, and Darius goes with Darcy. And they find a dead body, which is the person who owns the house. He's got a tarot card from Astrum and a suicide note, I guess, that Darcy takes. And then they go and they find these nymphs that are going through his things trying to find something.
And they look like normal people at first, or normal fae at first, to Darcy.
Yeah. And Darius is like, I didn't know it was a nymph. I just assumed.
Well, great, Darius. Just fire first, ask later.
Of course. Of course. What do y'all think that they're looking for?
I don't know. It was weird. When I first read it, I, for some reason, thought they got away with whatever it was they were looking for until the end when they were saying they obviously didn't find it. But I don't know. I don't know why that I felt like they got away with something.
In the suicide note, he says something like, I had something of value once and I had to give it to a friend. And so if you're looking for that, it's not here anymore.
Yeah, so that's when I was like, oh, they must not have found it then. But for some reason, I thought before that.
The nymphs do run off with stuff. They just...
Not the stuff.
Don't know.
Okay.
We're assuming that they're looking for whatever he's referencing in the note.
Okay.
So
How do you spell the guy's name, Christy? How's it spelled in the book?
Dire.
Do you remember?
Something Dyer.
What's his last name?
Dyer. Dire.
Oh, what's his first name?
I don't. Let me pull up the.
I know it's like it starts with a C. Yeah.
Because I was wondering how that was spelled.
Craven? Is it Craven Dyer?
Well, they say in the audiobook, I think it's like Cravine.
Cravine.
I think it's a little like the spelling of it is not.
I was only wondering because the word craven means coward, like extremely cowardly. And I just thought, what a funny name to give him since he took the coward's way out, right?
Also, I think it's funny that Lance put a hole in the ward so that he could leave.
Oh, yeah.
Without being Kreevan.
Kreevan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Creven.
Okay.
Do you think the friend that was referenced in the note is going to be Orion's dad?
I had not considered that for some reason.
And then it's going to be in that cellar thing?
Yeah, he was like, well, when he first finds out that it's Creven Dyer's house, he's like, oh, he's a family friend. But in the note, or he was a friend of my dad's, and then in the note he said he sent whatever it was to a friend.
I don't know why, but I thought it was Astrum for some reason because of the tarot card. That's what came to my mind. But I could see it being Orion's dad too.
And he thought,
no, because
could be
because the guy
Lionel.
was kind of he said that was the only good thing he's ever done, that he's more of kind of a criminal. So yeah, I had assumed it was his dad as well.
His dad worked for Lionel though.
Orion's dad?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. That's why Orion is family friends with them, right?
Yeah.
So then no, then I don't think surely that's not who he sent it to for safekeeping, because
maybe he thought Lionel was a good guy.
But Lionel would have used it by now, whatever it is.
Maybe.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it could be.
Demelza?
Because he was like, Darius is calling Darcy Gwen, and Orion's
and then he also calls her something else.
Shrew.
Yeah. And Orion's like, if you don't call her Darcy, I'll call you Demelza. Or something like that.
But he also, the first time he does it, he's like, call her Darcy, dipshit.
I also really liked Darius and Darcy having like a scene together. Like, It's time for them to bond in the way that Tory and Orion have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the action. I loved the action. This is the kind of stuff
I also
it felt very ghost huntery.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved that Darcy saves Darius, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Plan B was just for me to turn into a dragon. I would have saved you. It's okay."
He's like, "I was totally fine the whole time. It's fine."
Yeah, you didn't save me. It's fine.
Yeah,
I like their dynamic as well.
Yeah, they're fun.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, anything else?
I enjoyed this section of the book, even though I am really, I just want Darius and Tory to be together, and they fucked it up, but it's fine.
I think they're gonna get a second chance.
But by the end of this book, do you think?
No.
We're
Oh no, we're gonna suffer. We're gonna have to suffer until like the last book.
Yeah. I don't know.
It better be worth it.
It better be. That's why I said.
Mm-hmm.
It better be life-shattering, life-altering, world-ending, Brittany.
Can't say anything. I can't say things. So, you want to close this out?
Sure. Okay. All right. We hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Next episode, we're going to be discussing Book 5, Cursed Fates, chapters 11 through 17. New episodes hopefully drop every week.
Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. That like and follow are super important for us being able to continue to bring you new episodes each week. So please, please, please do so. Thank you for listening to the Midnight Readers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Happy reading, listeners. Don't stay up too late.